Rapunzel, The Secret Promise, Part 1. Once upon a time, there lived a kind man, Mathis, and his loving wife, Elara. They were waiting for a very special gift, a new baby. Their small house had a window that looked out onto a very big, beautiful garden. But this garden belonged to a powerful, scary sorceress named Gothel. One day, Elara looked out and saw the most beautiful plants she had ever seen. They were called Rapunzel, and they looked so fresh and green. "Oh, Mathis," she sighed, "I must eat some of that lovely Rapunzel. I feel so sick, and only those greens will make me feel better." Mathis loved his wife very much. He knew the garden was forbidden, but he could not bear to see her so sad and weak. "I will go," he whispered to himself. When the moon was high and the night was very quiet, Mathis climbed over the wall and dropped into the secret garden. He quickly cut a big bunch of the sweet Rapunzel. Just as he turned to leave, a shadow moved. "A thief!" a harsh voice boomed. It was the sorceress, Gothel, standing tall and very angry. Mathis dropped his bag of greens in fear. "Please, I only came for my wife. She is going to have a baby and is very sick. She needs the Rapunzel to be well again." Gothel smiled a cold, thin smile. "You may take all the Rapunzel you like," she said, "but you must give me the one thing you love most when it arrives." "The baby," she said, her voice like ice. Mathis was so scared and worried for Elara, he quickly said, "Yes, I promise." And so, the promise was made. Mathis ran home as fast as he could. Elara ate the fresh Rapunzel and felt better right away. Mathis was so happy, but a cold knot stayed deep in his stomach. He kept his secret promise all to himself. Soon after, the most wonderful thing happened. A beautiful baby girl arrived. Mathis and Elara were overjoyed. They laughed and cried happy tears. But the very next morning, a dark shadow fell across their window. Gothel had come to collect on the secret promise. She wore a long, black cloak, and her smile was gone. Mathis opened the door, his heart sinking. "I made a promise," he whispered, looking down at the ground. "A terrible promise." Elara looked at her tiny daughter and gave her a kiss. "We will call you Rapunzel," she whispered, "like the greens that brought you to us." Gothel took baby Rapunzel and walked away without another word. Mathis and Elara watched her go, their hearts broken into a million pieces. Their little cottage was now too quiet. Far away, deep in the darkest part of the forest, Gothel carried Rapunzel to a very, very tall tower. It had no door and no stairs, just one little window high up near the clouds. Rapunzel grew up all alone in the tower. Gothel brought her food and told her stories, but she never let her go outside. Rapunzel's golden hair grew longer and longer. When Rapunzel's hair was long enough to reach the ground, Gothel would stand below the tower and call out her special words. "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." And Rapunzel would unwind her long golden braid and drop it down, 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 so Gothel could climb up. Every day, in the tall, quiet tower, Rapunzel would try to make herself busy. She would brush her long golden hair until it shone like the sun. But the very best thing Rapunzel did was sing. She sang about the green trees outside and the happy clouds above. Her voice was like tiny silver bells ringing. Far away, a kind young prince named Lothar was riding through the thick forest. He was looking for nothing in particular, just enjoying the quiet day. Suddenly, Lothar stopped his horse. What was that beautiful sound? It was a song, sweet and clear, floating through the trees. He had never heard anything so lovely. Lothar followed the sound deeper into the woods until he came to a clearing. There, reaching up to the sky, was a strange, tall tower with no door. Rapunzel was singing from the only window, high, high up. She didn't know anyone was listening, so she sang the happiest song in her heart. Lothar hid behind a thick bush and watched the tower for a long time. He wanted to climb up, but there was no way. He waited, quiet as a sleepy mouse. Finally, a shadow fell across the clearing. It was Gothel. She stood at the bottom of the tower and called out, not a song, but a loud, strong command. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. Rapunzel's long, golden braid came tumbling down like a waterfall. Lothar gasped softly from his hiding spot. Gothel climbed up and disappeared inside. Lothar knew her secret now. He waited until Gothel left, then smiled. He would come back tomorrow, and he knew just what to say. The next morning, as the sun began to shine, Lothar returned to the tall tower. He remembered the magic words. He took a deep breath and called up, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. The long, golden braid tumbled down, swinging gently. Lothar grasped it tightly and began to climb, climb, climb. When he reached the top, he saw a beautiful young woman with hair like sunshine. Hello, Rapunzel whispered, surprised to see someone new. Lothar smiled kindly. I am Lothar, and I heard you sing. They talked for a long time. Lothar told Rapunzel all about the world outside, the green forests, the laughing children, and the bright blue sky. They decided that Rapunzel must leave the tower, but they needed a secret plan. Lothar had to go before Gothel returned. I will come back every night, he promised. But one day, Rapunzel made a mistake. Dame Gothel, she said, you are so much slower to climb the hair than Prince Lothar. Gothel was furious. She cut Rapunzel's long, beautiful hair. Gothel took Rapunzel far away into a desert, but Lothar still came back every night and called her name. He missed his friend so much. He searched and searched until, at last, he found Rapunzel, and they were never separated again. They lived happily ever after.